Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're doing some absolute basic moves, but with an interesting or beautiful twist to them. I will say that if you are an absolute beginner, it is very important to try some aerial classes because working with a teacher is going to be vastly different and better than working by yourself. However, I do also know it is not always possible to make it to an aerial class or an aerial studio. They can be few and far between, and it can also be very expensive. So if trying by yourself is the only option, please make sure that you are working over a mat for safety's sake, and take your time, don't push yourself too far too fast. This is also a great tutorial for anyone who might be a little bit more advanced, but you're looking to go back to basics, to work on your technique, or to find moves that are a little easier that would be a great break moment in a routine. But as usual, before we get started, please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. I have lots and lots of other aerial videos with new ones coming out every week. Plus, I have an amazing community of people growing all the time over there, so come be a part of it and subscribe. Let's start with the cradle. This is a classic move that is really pretty. Start sitting in the hoop. Put your hands on the top bar of the hoop and bring your head through to the front side of the hoop. Next, take one leg out the back, bring the shoulder on that side to the front. I'm taking my left leg out the back, so I'm taking my left shoulder to the front. Then I will lean towards that shoulder, so still to my left. Put it in the front of the hoop, so the hoop is against the back of my shoulder blade, and slide down to your knee, coming into the full cradle position. Once you're there, you should feel very secure, and you can play around with different shapes to make. This stag position, stag is when you have both knees bent in any position, is a great option. You can take off your hands, you can play with your arms, you can also put your knees together and do this little curled into a ball kind of position, or you can put your elbow on the top bar. These are all really beautiful options. To come out of it, place your hands back on the top of the hoop, lean your shoulder out the back of the hoop, and then replace both legs inside to come back into the sitting position where you started. Next up, let's try the push away split. This is another position where you can play around a lot and find lots of shapes you can make. From a seated position in the hoop, place your hands on the top bar. They should be slightly wider than your shoulders. Not too wide, but at least a little wider than your shoulders. Next, slide your hips out the back of the hoop. Lift up one leg and place the foot on the bottom bar of the hoop. Next, push with that leg until it straightens out, and lift the other leg out and away from the hoop, coming into this split position. If you're feeling bendy, go for the full split. If not, you can bend your back leg. That's a great way to hide if your split is not quite flat. You can also bring your knees together with one knee bent. That's really pretty. Or you can cross one leg over the other. Play around with it because you've got that leg that you're free to move around and find shapes with. To come back into the hoop, straighten that leg, put it through the center of the hoop, bend the leg with the foot on the hoop, so that leg that was in the front, and bring yourself back into a seated position inside the hoop right where you started. Let's move on to the elbow arabesque. This is a variation on a basic arabesque position, but I think it's a little bit easier if you're not the most bendy in your back. Once again, we're starting with both hands on the top of the hoop, and you're seated on the bottom bar of the hoop. You may see a pattern here. Take one leg out the back of the hoop. The hoop is against the back of my front thigh and pretty close to my hips. I don't want it too close to my knee. Next, I straighten both legs. This gives me a nice little half split or arabesque position. Then I'm able to take one hand and then the other off the top bar and hook on my elbows. If you lean your weight slightly forward, it's going to make you feel a lot more secure in this position. You can also play around with bending one leg in the back. I think that's really beautiful. Or coming into a passe by bringing your back leg straight down towards the ground and touching your toe to the side of your knee. That's also a really nice variation. And you're basically already seated back in the hoop, but just to come out of it, replace your hands on the top bar, then bring your other leg back in through the center of the hoop. Let's go for the mermaid. I already have a tutorial about how to do the mermaid and how to add a split. I will link that at the top of your screen right now, and it's also linked in the description of this video because I already have another tutorial for it. I'm not going to go too in depth, but basically you are putting your hands on the top bar, sliding your hips back away from the hoop, then twisting over to one side. As you bring your hips to face the ground, reach forward with the other arm. You can bring out one leg to come into a passe position, and to come out of it, take the leg that was in passe, bring it back through the center of the hoop, flip your hips around so they are now facing the ceiling, and don't forget to leave your head behind you and arch up. It's always important when you're arching up into the hoop that your head is the last thing to come up. I know that was a really fast explanation, but check out my longer mermaid tutorial. That one really breaks it down and goes into each step. And finally, we have the man in the moon. This is a classic position. Again, I already have another tutorial for this on my channel. It's linked at the top of your screen and in the description. But just to go basically into it, turn your hips directly to the side, placing the hoop right in the middle of your bum. Place one foot and then the other on the side of the hoop, at least halfway up, so higher is better than lower. Place the other side of the hoop against your spine. You should feel it going down your spine all the way down. That way you know it's right in the center of your back, so you'll be able to balance. And place your head on one side of the hoop. So the head on the side is going to actually help you balance by letting you press your head against the side of the hoop. When you're ready, you can try taking your hands off. You shouldn't need them at all in this position. It is nice and evenly balanced. You have two options to come out of it. The first option is just to come back the way that you came by bringing your legs down and coming back into a seated position. The second option is to add in a straight-legged man in the moon by crossing your legs through the center of the hoop so that you should have your ankles crossed and then the hoop between your two ankles. From there, you can reach up, grab the top of the hoop, and then slide your legs directly down. This brings you into a beautiful seated position with crossed legs in the center and your back where you started. Here's everything again in real time so you can see how it all flows. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed doing all these basic and beginner moves with me. It's always great to go back to basics and find interesting shapes, how to make something look different, how to make something look individual and special. I actually also did a choreography for these shapes, adding them all together, which I'm going to post as my next video. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. I will show you all the transitions of how to make about 1 minute long choreography with all of these shapes in it. It's really simple and easy, and I will walk you through it very slowly. In the meantime, please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. Like I said before, it really helps me out when you guys do that. Also, like my videos, helps me out a lot, and I will see you guys next time.